Hello everybody and welcome to another Creative Writing Shop with myself, Grainne McCool from the Right Stuff Kids Club and Read DL 2022. Now, the last workshop that I did was a fun creative writing session based on checkmates. This one is a more serious creative writing workshop where we're focusing on wellness, well-being and sort of our emotions, but we're going to focus it all on positivity. When I finished reading this year's novel, Checkmates by Stuart Foster, I just got this overwhelming sense of, wow, I've got to use this novel for well-being. I do a lot of work in schools and even in my own workshops with children on writing your way to wellness. Okay, so it's all about writing, about feeling good and building up your confidence in words. I find that by putting words on paper, we're actually releasing something from within. Sometimes if we're struggling and we can't tell someone, writing it down, we've told the page. Okay, so it really is a form of therapy, just writing it. Everybody can write. You don't have to spell, you don't have to structure things in any particular way. Just write, put the words down, and it really is so helpful. And I just felt there's so much between Grandad and Felix in this. I think there's so much to talk about and to make us stop and think about ourselves. When we think Felix has ADHD, he struggles in school. Grandad is grieving. He's lost his wife and he's remembering his past, his troubled childhood as well, since Grandma has died, and he's finding life very difficult. So I think we all have struggles and worries and issues in our lives which we struggle with. So the first thing I want you to do actually is I want you to write down a worry or a struggle that you have at this time, and if possible write it on a scrap of paper, not so much on a copy, just on a piece of paper. Write down a worry or struggle that you have. The reason for that I'll explain in a wee second, but we're just going to write little sentences and paragraphs, maybe a 6-word story during this session, okay? But it's all very personal writing. The other thing actually is stop and play as you go through this video, okay? Or even listen through to it all at once and then go back and start it again and do the exercises. It's up to you. But remember just to stop when you start writing and then start playing when you go on to the next piece, okay? So like I say, a struggle or a worry that you have. Now I want you to take that piece of paper and throw it away, okay? Because for the next 15 or 20 minutes, I want you to forget about that struggle or that worry and just focus on feeling good. The worry's gone. It hasn't disappeared. We know that, okay? It's there. But just the next 15 or 20 minutes, I want you to focus on feeling good and being positive in your outlook. Okay, so after our worry is written down and disposed of, we're going to straight into our first piece of writing, which is actually going to be just a simple little 6-word story. Now, on page 17 in the novel, Felix is telling us kind of why he doesn't really want to go to Grandad's all the time, because Grandad's boring. He's sitting in the dark. And he hasn't yet acknowledged just how depressed his Grandad is. But he says, but since she's been gone, it's like it's raining all the time. So Felix can see that Grandad isn't feeling himself and that there's no more sun. Okay, it's the rain. But it's not the literal rain, it's a metaphorical rain. He's imagining that it's like rain all the time with Grandad. So then later on, not that further into the novel, he says, it's sunny outside, but it's raining in my bedroom. So again, Felix is now feeling depressed, okay? So what I want to do is focus on the weather, and I want you to write a 6-word story using the weather that makes you feel good, okay? What kind of weather makes you feel good? Write it in 6 words. And like that, I'll do mine. I actually have 2 written down here because I like a lot of different kinds of weather. It's not just the sun that makes me feel good. So here is one. Sun shining bright, clear blue sky. A bright sunshiny day makes us all feel more content within ourselves. Just a few days ago, it was Pancake Tuesday, the 1st of March, and it was the most beautiful day. It really was like the first day of spring, although the meteorological spring begins the 1st of February, but for me, spring is the 1st of March, and it was the perfect spring day on Pancake Tuesday, the 1st of March. So I remember how I felt that morning. I just felt so happy going out. Now this is another one completely different. Rain pelting down, wind blowing gently. There's nothing I enjoy more than sitting in my bedroom reading when the rain is pelting off the window and the wind is blowing outside. Now I don't like the strong gale force winds, but I do like the nice gentle wind. So those are two types of weather that make me feel good. What is your 6-word weather story that makes you feel good? Over to you. Now, our next piece of writing is, in the story, we read that we all learn from our mistakes. Felix learns a lot from mistakes that he's made. But think about ourselves. It's something we all know, but we don't really stop and talk or think about it that much. But we do learn from our mistakes. So I just want you now to write down a mistake that you have made in life, and then write a little description of what you've learned from that mistake. Because every mistake is teaching us something. Even in creative writing with the children, I get them, don't rub out your mistakes, put a little line through them, make it messy, I don't mind. Then look back in a few weeks or a few months' time and see all the mistakes you used to make and see how you're not making those mistakes now. You learned from your mistakes, okay? So what mistake have you made in life? And then just write a little bit about what have you learned from that mistake. Over to you. Now, this is going back and very much for people who have lost somebody. And I want you to do this exercise with a smile. Think about someone who you have loved and lost. I want you to write a descriptive paragraph describing that person. But write remembering them with a smile. Make the memory a happy one. Don't be sad because they're gone. Be happy because you knew them and because that they had lived. Okay? So a descriptive paragraph about someone whom you have loved and who is no longer here today. And try and enjoy writing that because it will feel good. It may be a little sad, but it will feel good. Just putting it in, seeing that person in words on the page. If anybody doesn't want to do this, that's fine. Let this sit. Maybe another time you might do it. But for anyone who feels up to doing it, it's a lovely little exercise and it does feel really good when you read over what you've written and really you're seeing that person in words. When I look at the poem that I've written about my dad, yes, there's often a tear falls from my eye. I would almost have a tear coming out talking to you, but there's always a smile on my face, okay? It's just so, so nice. So again, try and enjoy doing that if at all possible. Now, about midway through the book, well, it's after Felix has won his first couple of chess games and then he goes on to the championship and his friend Jake, remember, tries to persuade him not to go on because Jake's missing his friend, okay, which is normal too. But what Felix says is, it's something I want to do. I'm going to do it for me, okay? So he's going to do this something for himself. Initially, it all started out doing it for Granddad, but when he realised he was enjoying it, he wanted to do it for himself. So I want you to write down something you've always wanted to do, okay? We all have something we've really always wanted to. I think I said in the other workshop that I always wanted to jump out of an airplane. Oh, but terrifying. But it's something I've always wanted to do for a long time. I don't know if I'll ever get the courage to do it. But write down the one thing you've always wanted to do. It might be something simple. It might be something a bit more extravagant. Write it down. Tell that page about something you've always wanted to do. And maybe, just maybe, you might get the confidence to do it. Now, near the end of the book, Felix says, that's when I realised how brilliant being good at something feels. So he's realised how good he is at chess. He's winning all these games. He's a chess champion now, okay? And he feels good. But he's also aware that as well as being good at chess and winning the games, he's also improving his ability in school. He's able to concentrate and listen in school now. He's even able to answer some of the questions his teacher asks. So by doing something that he enjoys and that he's obviously very good at, has helped him in so many other ways in his life. I want you to write down something you're good at. We all find it hard to admit to our good points. If I were to ask you to write about all your negative attributes and the bad things that you can do or that you have done, it's so much easier to do, okay? Focus on the good things. What is the one thing you're good at? Maybe you don't like to tell people you're good at. Maybe you don't want people knowing, or you don't want to feel boastful. You're not being boastful. You're being confident. So write down, tell your page something that you're good at. And then write a little bit about how doing that or being part of that makes you feel. Okay? What we're good at straight automatically makes us feel better. Okay? I keep saying I'm good at talking because I like talking. It makes me feel good. When I was isolating just after Christmas in this little room, I had COVID, and I did everything I could to prevent my husband and my son, who had to stay home from Dublin and isolate as well. I did everything I could to prevent them from getting it. So I stayed in this room for 10 days. It was so hard, I couldn't talk to anybody. I actually struggled with that. So I know that I'm good at talking. What are you good at, and how does it make you feel? Now, it was near the end of the story as well that Felix's granda finally told him about his past. Remember, he took out the box. So this little box was a hidden treasure of his life as a young person. And he brought out all the photographs and started telling them stories of the difficulties that he came through in Nazi Germany. And it was a harrowing story. And it was through that story that Grandad also told Felix about why and how much chess meant to him. So chess was a love that he had that he was never able to share before, and he was able to share it with with Felix. I'm mixing up the two boys now. So what Felix's grandad said, when Felix asked him why was he telling him now, grandad told Felix that his grandmother once said that we should share our loves with the people we love. So instead of keeping our loves inside, we should share them with the people who we love, the people who we are close to. And that is why Grandad finally shared his love of chess and his story of chess with Felix. What is the one love that you have that perhaps you don't talk about? Is there something you love that maybe you're not able to do because of family circumstance? Is there something you love that you can't do maybe because of a work circumstance? Or is there something that you love to that maybe you feel people might laugh at you? Or it might make you embarrassed? Write it down. Write down something that you've been keeping inside, something that you love. It might even be someone you love. Be careful. No, write down something that you love, okay? So you're telling the page. What I'm trying to do is the page can become your friend. If you're 11 years old, 15 years old, 40 years old, 90 years old, the page can be your friend. It can be your secret friend. It's a little bit like a diary. So I would say, tell the page. So tell your page now about something you love. Now, we're going to do one last little piece. I'm sure everyone doing this has read Checkmates, the novel. If you haven't, please do, because it's so good. And it will make you feel good. This is a real feel-good novel. I was talking to my adult book club about this last night, and I was telling the girls they've got to read Checkmates. So at the end of the novel, we see Grandad take a very, very big step forward. A very big step by doing something very simple. He opens the curtains. He lets in the light. Remember, Grandad has been sitting in the dark, living in the dark since Grandma died. He kept the curtains closed. Felix could never understand this idea of existing in the dark, that he never opened the curtains. And that was one of the reasons that Jake suspected maybe Grandad was a spy. But Grandad was sitting in the dark because he was depressed, but also because of his past. So opening those curtains, that simple daily task that we all do, we let the light in the morning, we open the curtains. By opening those curtains, Grandad was opening a whole new chapter in his life. And at the same time, Felix was starting a whole new chapter in his life. He was a chess champion. He was a confident, competent young man now at school. A whole brighter future waited both Felix and Grandad at the end. What is the one thing that I want you to write down? The last writing task. What is the one thing you could do today to let more life into your life and more light into your life? Bit of a tongue twister, sorry. What is the one you could do to allow and to let more light into your life today? Let go of a worry. Write it down and see your curtains begin to open. What is the one thing? Is it maybe go a walk? Is it maybe to force yourself to invite someone over for a cup of tea? Is it maybe just to open those curtains like Granda? But think about it. It might not come to you straight away, this. But think about it. What is the one thing that you can do today to let more light into your life and for you to move forward to a new chapter and a brighter future like Grandad and Felix did in Checkmates? Just write a little bit now about what you think you could do, because only you know what you can do. No one else knows. Other people like to tell you what you can do, but they don't know how you're feeling within. Only you yourself know what you can do. Write it down, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get the strength to do that. Now, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that made some sense to you. Like I say, it's just, I take all this to my own personal experience. I write a lot about my feelings, about my experiences, and I just find it really helps me. And if we try and focus on the positive in our life, well, that it does help us to overcome the negativity, the problems, and the worries that we all have. So I hope that those few little exercises have helped you to maybe express something more positive about you and maybe your future. So, checkmates. Checkmate yourself today and get out. Bye. Bye.